It was Winston Churchill who said, "If you're going through hell, keep going." Well, I hope you're not in a spot of hell right now, but I want to share a story with you about a man who had a hellish childhood and he just kept going. He got away from his family to go away to college, and he got one degree, and then he got another degree in medicine, then he got a third degree in divinity, and he went on to write this fantastic book called Cured. His name is Jeffrey Rediger, and I want to read to you about how he would describe his own childhood. He says, "I realize now that my parents were both physically and emotionally abusive. Life was, every day, a war zone. My brother and I were hit. We were forced to endure deprivation in the name of religion. My mother required that I eat and drink spoiled milk and food, and created all kinds of extreme situations to demonstrate that she owned every aspect of my mind, body, and soul. As I grew older, she even tried to convince me that there was something inherently bad about me, deep down, but it didn't work." Thank goodness it didn't work, because he is now on the faculty of the Harvard Medical School, and he's the psychiatry director at the Good Samaritan Hospital back east, and he has transformed his life. So in his great book, he gives us 4 techniques for doing this. So I'd like to cover 2 in this Wednesday night insight, and then 2 next week. How does that sound? Well, as you can imagine, he came out of his childhood feeling badly damaged. His sense of self was so deteriorated, but it wasn't gone. It was like the flame of the divine was still kindled within him, and he had this desire to kindle it more. So he's alive and well and doing great things in the world. His siblings, however, still to this day suffer from all nature of autoimmune diseases. So how did he rebuild his identity? How did he heal his life, and as he would put it, heal his very soul? Well, there are 4 ways, and the first one is that he says that we should first and foremost install and embrace and really know that the truth of us is that we are spirit divine, that we are waves in this ocean of all being, of all possibility, never separate from it, always contained within it, and that is the truest thing about us. And furthermore, there's nothing that can ever discount it or diminish it or distance us from that truest truth about us. For we are truly made of divine stuff. We are enmeshed with it, entangled with it, ineffably intertwined with it, as though we're a pretzel or a braided friendship bracelet. It's just in us and as us and through us. I got to spend last week with my beloved niece, Madeline, and her new baby, an 8-week-old they've chosen to name Hazel. Now, when Hazel was in the womb, do you think she said, "Oh, I'm the size of a peanut or a grape, but I think I need a heart and some lungs and a brain. I'll just create that and whip it all together with yards and yards of arteries and veins"? No, as cute as she is, she couldn't do that. But Spirit does that. That great evolutionary force, that drive that keeps us rekindled and kindles us again and again and keeps us moving down the path of our spiritual evolution. It does all of that. So the second thing that Dr. Jeffrey Rediger says in his book is that even if you're going through a rough time, you always have available to you in this ocean of all possibilities the ability to renegotiate your relationship with stress. Stress. Now, I don't know what's stressing you out right now. It might be your finances or your house or your kids or your relationship. I know my daughter says to me, these kids are giving me gray hair. But she's decided not to see it as a threat to her very identity. She sees it as a challenge for who she is and who she's becoming. And that's what Dr. Rediker says that we can do. Change what appears to be a threat to our very being to a challenge that we can master. I'd like to share just one more story with you, and it's an amazing story about a French researcher, and his name is Robert Thoreau. And the threat to him, the conflict for him, was that he was in danger of losing his funding for his research, therefore his livelihood, and his reputation, if he couldn't find definitive proof that our adult human brains can regrow neurons. Well, he has done some amazing research. One of my favorite outcomes of it is that by the time we're 50, all the neurons that we were born with are gone and have been replaced by brand new ones. So our brains can do wonderful things. They continue to grow and can renew themselves and rebuild. So what he did to prove this was take two groups of monkeys, and one group, the control group, was in a group of cages all by themselves, and the experimental group was in a group cage, and they had an exercise wheel, and they could play and enjoy each other's company and exercise their divine little mammal temples. And so he took a baseline, color-coded PET scan when he started the experiment, and then he looked 4 months later. And lo and behold, the brains of the monkeys who got to live together and to exercise grew new brain cells. So I love this on several levels, but what it says to me is that we can continue to renew ourselves through our lives, body, mind, and soul. So in summary, we can do two things that really help our healing, our growth, our unfolding as human beings. And they are to know at the deepest core of our being, in every tissue, cell, and fiber, that we are spirit divine. We are God with flesh on. And secondly, to reframe our stress levels as not threats to us, but challenges for us.
As I breathe into this moment, I know that all that is divine is within me, through me, as me. That which has no beginning and no end, ever present, evolving and growing. I am one with that divine presence, as I know that the life around me is a part of that as well. It brings me peace and joy to stand within my being, knowing that I am an expression of that which is divine, and not in highly spiritualized moments or moments of great importance. But I know that this is true even in the everyday. I know I experience it. And I emanate this out, knowing that it can and is the blessing of life that we all experience. I'm so grateful for the accessibility, the peace which it brings, the hope that being one with my divine being, and how that expresses through me is part of the energy, the love that is expressed in this physical universe. I embrace the wholeness. I give thanks for the time, the opportunities that this happens, knowing that they are in every moment. In gratitude, knowing I can release this word as divine being expressed through me, through all of us, into existence. It always has been and always will be. And that is the word released into the law, and so it is.
you.